Twins do it again. They beat Chicago for their 10th win in a row. We're breaking it all down. It's coming up next on the Locked On Twins POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Twins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up? What's up? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins POSTCAST episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. You got myself, Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. Look at this. Pinch hit in the flesh. Sam Ekstrom. He's on X, at Sam Ekstrom. Host of the Minnesota football and Minnesota basketball party. You can always check those out every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Sam, before we jump into all the action from today, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, man, Twins coming in on an absolute heater. First 9-game win streak since 2008. You heard that right. Bailey Ober on the mound today. He lasted 6 strong innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs on the day. I'll give you the quick snapshot recap, Sam. You jump in if you got a little play-by-play or a little description for us. Let's start at the top, okay, with Fam's homer to put the Sox up 3-1. Let's go to the call from Bally Sports North.
And again, a lot of folks probably weren't able to see the game because of the Comcast Bally dispute.
We'll have to touch on that later on in segment 2.
Yeah. We'll do that. But I would just imagine this is how Corey Provis would have sounded as he called the Tommy Pham home run. We've got a 1-0 pitch coming to Tommy Pham. He stares out at the fan in left center field. He's pointing his bat out to him. I'm reading his lips. He appears to be saying, "I'm sending this to you, big dog." He's calling his shot, folks. Here's Ober's pitch. Oh, he drives it. Left center field. Wham, bam. Thank you, Pham. He pulls a Babe Ruth and calls his shot to give the White Sox a 3-1 lead. Pham-a-lamma ding-dong.
And again, we got that footage from Bally Sports North. Corey Provis on the call. Unbelievable call.
Don't
there,
copyright
Sam.
us.
Unbelievable. Don't copyright us. Yeah. Okay. Let's jump top 5, down 3-1. Alex Kirilloff goes yard with his second home run of the lead. That cuts the lead to 1. I would imagine that call sounded a lot like this.
Chris Flexen on the mound. They call him Chris Big Baby Flexen. Big Baby. He deals what appears to be a 91-mile-per-hour four-seam fastball, and Kirilloff unloads. He must have hit that ball at 98.3 miles per hour. It's flying at a 31-degree angle and gone. That ball looks like it went roughly 354 feet. Touch 'em all, Alex Kirilloff. Big Baby is crying on the mound. Kirilloff is taunting him as he rounds third base. What's this? He threw a baby rattle back to the pitcher. What a boss move. Kirilloff with the flex against Chris Flexen. 3-2 White Sox.
3-2 White Sox. Again, Corey Provis on the call, just bringing his
game
today. Bringing his heat today, man. He had that Johan Duran fastball today. I'm absolutely loving these calls. Next inning, down 2 again. Twins kind of get lucky. DeYoung at shortstop has one go right through his legs. Kepler scores. Larnach scores. We're all tied up at 4. What did that one sound like, do you think, Sam?
I would imagine if anybody, were there to see it, it would have sounded something like this. Bases loaded, 2 outs to Willie Castro. You dream about these moments, folks. Taking on a 6-win team the 1st of May in front of dozens of fans. Pressure at its peak. Here's the pitch. Little roller behind second base, behind the bag. It gets through DeYoung. Here comes Kepler and Larnach, and the Twins tie it.
And that's the call. Again, Corey Provis bringing the heat today.
Scully-esque.
A little Scully-esque. Yeah. Anytime you can squeeze in a Buckner reference, I mean, we're having ourselves a day here, folks. All right. Next inning, Kepler, Miranda, both had a couple RBIs to go up 6-4. White Sox homer in the 7th. That cuts the lead to 6-5. But top 9, your Minnesota Twins bust this thing wide open. Miranda and Jeffers hit back-to-back doubles. Farmer scores. Correa scores. Miranda scores. I bet you that sounded a lot like this.
Yeah, probably something like this. Jeffers digs in. Brebbia wipes his brow. He looks stressed. Flop sweat dripping down his face. He pitches. Oh, it's a meatball down the middle. Jeffers hammers a frozen rope to right field. Oh, he's admiring it. Folks, he just did the discount double check celebration. He is feeling it right now. White Sox have been demoralized. 2-run score. Jeffers holds up the 1 and the 0 as he rounds first base, sort of like Anthony Edwards the other night. I think he's saying, this one's over. We've won 10 straight. He's calling the fight. Jeffers delivers. In the words of Dolly Parton, our new score is 9-5. What a way to make a living.
How do you even follow that up, man? Unbelievable. Oker comes in the 9th, ring him up, sit him down. Don't look now. You're Minnesota Twins, folks. They got a 10-game win streak for the first time since 2008. Rest assured, we'll dive into some fun stats and facts about the last time they had this 10-game win streak a little bit later on. All jokes aside, Sam, phenomenal play-by-play stuff right there. Great breakdown. I think everybody listening at home, you just painted a beautiful picture as far as what transpired today.
Picture?
In this,
Did you say picture?
What's that?
Well, picture. I mean, just in case people weren't able to watch.
That's right.
And again, Bally, don't copyright me. I know this is going to look like the game footage, but
of course not.
Like, for instance, the Castro, the error that led to 2 runs on the Castro ground ball. I mean, this.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did Leonardo da Vinci just show up?
You even see the thought bubble. Like, they really
you got the thought bubble here. You got you painted the whole picture. You pulled out, you dusted off the whiteboard. And again, I think what I'm looking at is an actual authentic Sports Illustrated USA Today picture in 1080p of the DeYoung era right there. Whoops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
Please subscribe on YouTube if you're listening on audio. You probably got nothing out of that, but there was a realistic likeness of what happened today. Probably. I mean, no one saw it.
No one saw it. And again, I don't know. Maybe a lot of you are listening at home and thinking, okay, these guys are off the rails. Let's just jump back on the rails in all seriousness here. 10-game win streak. Just hone in on today's game, though, Sam. I know we kind of just went play-by-play, but just maybe your biggest takeaways, kind of the A topics. What stuck out the most from their 10th game in this unbelievable win streak?
Yeah, White Sox are in shambles, but hey, it's even in baseball, the worst teams win 1 out of 3.
That's
and
right.
The Twins have now avoided that in 3 consecutive series against bad teams. And a handful of these games, they had to come back, including, in the course of 18 hours, they do it twice, last night and this afternoon against the White Sox. And today, the White Sox had a 2-run lead for most of the first 2/3 of this game. And then the Twins just went after that bullpen. So credit to the Twins for just not having any slip-ups. The pitching's been good enough to have them in every single game. A little later in the show, fun comparison between this 10-game winning streak and the last 10-game winning streak. And I'll give you a tease. The key, Luke, is just to play some bad teams. Get right when you play bad teams and string them together and be opportunistic, which the Twins have done right now. And suddenly this baseball team, I mean, imagine 12 days ago, we probably thought, to get back to 500 is going to be such an uphill climb.
Yeah.
Now they're 4 games above 500 and right there in the AL Central.
So it can't all be great news because, of course, this is Minnesota sports we're talking about. So top of the second, Byron Buxton, say it ain't so. He pulls up lame, run into second, and then, he walked gingerly to the dugout. Apparently walked so slow, Sam, the home plate ump, Rob Drake, he started screaming at him to get off the field, which I thought that was a little rude, but okay, what are you going to do? But say it ain't so, man. Another season, another Buxton injury now that's just weighing on everybody's mind. We'll get into the Willie Castro replacing him here in a minute and the phenomenal job he did today. But, I mean, whether it's 10 days or 100 days, this is probably the single worst thing this already battered and bruised lineup needed to happen. So, again, I'll ask you, knee-jerk reaction to the injury and the impact of no Byron Buxton in your lineup. What's it mean for Rocco and the rest of this team?
Yeah, this was a guy that, I mean, I last night when he went from first to third, I want to say it was the 8th inning last night.
Yeah,
just an explosive athlete. He looked like he was at top speed. And I even thought to myself, like, this crossed my mind. I said, he is such a different player when he is healthy. He's so impactful.
So dynamic. Yeah.
And for that to happen today in non-contact fashion, non-contact knee issues are never good. I would not be surprised if we get a quick IL stint announced by the Twins and get him off his feet. But I mean, what we got 1 month in, Luke, and now it's an issue again. It's so unfortunate. Royce Lewis may be around the corner. You get Carlos Correa back. It felt like you were getting back to health.
Yeah.
And then this happens. And it's not, he has not been lighting it up by any means. It's not like you're taking a 350 hitter out of your lineup, but his speed on the base paths is just so meaningful. His outfield play is so meaningful. And the proof is in the pudding. The Twins win when he is in the lineup. And this could be, again, an early season setback that could impact him the rest of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. And just to echo what you're saying there, again, when healthy, when fully dynamic at his peak, one of the best WAR in baseball, wins above replacement. So luckily today they had somebody like Willie Castro. He took over in center field, kind of softened the blow. He made a huge impact at the plate and in the field. Meanwhile, Jose Miranda took his spot in the lineup in the batting order. What do you make from both those guys today? And should we just pencil in Castro in center field for the next few weeks now, or what's your gut say?
Interesting question, because they got Margot for this possibility, right? Like Margot was, I've already forgotten the name of our backup center fielder last year. Thank you, Michael A. Taylor.
Yeah. Feels like a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year. I'm supposed to remember that. Now, Margot was supposed to be the guy. I mean, I think Castro plays so many different positions that it might be center some days and it might be third some days, and he's that utility man. But today, and again, he doesn't get credit for a hit on that hard ground ball to shortstop where there was an error, but he still got 3 additional hits. I mean, it goes 3 for 5 today in relief. Miranda had a nice performance. Really, the bats got going late in this game after kind of a slow start, lethargic start for the Twins. So I love Castro. I mean, Castro last year, when he got to play every day and got in a rhythm, kind of in the heat of the season, he was one of the 3 to 5 most important Twins, you could argue. And he gives you that speed, again, that you lose if you don't have Byron Buxton. He's at least one player that can run the base paths with some reckless abandon. So I think the Twins can withstand Buxton being out. They certainly have done it enough over the years to believe that they can do it again. I just ask myself, when will we ever see this team at full strength? Ever? Because it just doesn't happen with this core of players.
I remember, speaking of Michael A. Taylor, now I'm thinking about it. It's in the top of my head here. I remember thinking to myself, when they decided not to retain his services last year, I just remember thinking to myself, wow, that's such a huge risk, just knowing how often Buck has been hurt on and off throughout his entire career. And considering the job Michael A. Taylor did filling in at center field last year, I just thought it made, logical sense to keep him around for relatively cheap. But as you pointed out, we've seen how important, how versatile Willie Castro can be at multiple spots, obviously including center field, and doesn't hurt when Willie's swinging the bat like he has as of late as well. Just want a quick touch on Bailey Ober today. Coming off a win last time out versus Anaheim, 6 strong innings, 6 hits, 4 earned, 3 Ks, no walks, only 82 pitches. Just again, 30, 60 seconds. Overall thoughts on his day and what you've seen from him the last few outings as well.
Yeah, he's still suffering statistically from that first start of the year in KC, right, where he gave up 8 in 1 inning. So the ERA still looks terrible, but the body of work is actually coming together quite nicely, and he's shown that he can be an innings eater. He's now gone 6 or more in 4 consecutive starts, which is on this pitching staff with this manager, that's actually pretty rare to see. So for Ober to do that, to bounce back after a bad first inning, didn't have his best stuff, mitigated damage pretty well, and obviously kept the Twins in the game. So I think Ober is now, he's past the 4th in the rotation, 5th in the rotation status with Rocco. Like, Rocco trusts him to get through more than 5 innings, which is a pretty big step, because with the back end of the rotation, guys, Rocco is giving him the quick hook. Not with Bailey Ober right now, and that's a great response after he started the season the way he did.
Speaking of Rocco, Let's jump into our Rocco report. Just your favorite or your least favorite move or decision, whatever it may be from today's game. So game 3 versus Chicago, the Rocco report, it says what, Sam?
Yeah, it's a B. It's a solid B. You know, there wasn't like one magic thing he did or decision he made, but I think he emptied the bench with pinch hitters. I mean, he really kind of emptied the clip today against a lot of different relief pitchers that Chicago threw out there, most of whom couldn't throw strikes. But you know, obviously Miranda good in relief of Buxton. Castro moves defensively. He was excellent. Jeffers got a big hit after coming into the game as a pinch hitter. Farmer had a pinch hit. So a lot of the moves that were made did pan out. I don't know if I'm giving I'm not giving Rocco major kudos. Some of them were very obvious moves, but he didn't do anything to hurt the team either today. So I think he lined the bullpen up well. He gave Ober just enough leash to get through 6. I think it was a good day for Rocco. So a solid B.
All right, plenty more deep dive from this one. Plus, we got our nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's by far the easiest, the simplest, and most exciting way to get in on all the action while you sit down, you watch your favorite sports and your favorite players. Super simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season obviously in full swing, so whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Or get in on all the NBA playoff action like T-Wolves Nuggets coming up and win up to 100 times your money on the Prize Picks app. Plus, my favorite part, they now offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. One more time, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. I just want to tackle the elephant in the room here for a second, because only a Minnesota sports owner could steal the spotlight and be the A topic of conversation today while your team is on a 9-game, now 10-game win streak. And I know maybe you're a little bit more tapped into this whole fiasco than anyone else I personally know. So I'll just lay out the puzzle pieces here for you. Help us put them all back together best you can. You got the Twins. You got Bally Sports North Cable Company. You got Comcast is somewhere in the equation. And the Pohlads clearly made some poor decisions somewhere along the way on this timeline. And now, most importantly, and unfortunately, Twins fans now left with very few options when it comes to actually sitting down, watching their favorite team play baseball all summer. So I guess, how do we get here, I guess? Who's most to blame? And most importantly, where do we go from here to get the Minnesota Twins back on our TVs, just from everything you've gathered thus far?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you caught our first segment, Luke and I had some fun imagining what it might have been like to watch on TV, because we are both tied to Comcast.
And as fun as that is, let's hopefully not, we don't have to do that for another, 123 games. Let's just say that.
You don't want my illustrations for another 100 games. So this is partly on the Twins. This is mostly on this is a nationwide problem. So we got hosts, the Atlanta Braves, for instance, they're POSTCAST hosts. They're in the same boat as us. Comcast is down with Bally nationwide, and there are like 15 different markets because Diamond Sports Group, which oversees Bally Sports, they have been taken off Comcast because they couldn't agree to terms. And the way it works is Comcast pays Bally and then to have their games, and then the subscribers pay Comcast. That's how the money works out. And they could not agree to terms. So this particular dispute goes above the Twins' heads, and they've already released a statement saying we have nothing to do with it. That's technically true, but Luke, if you remember, there was the off-season discussion where the Twins didn't have it. They were free agents. They didn't have a TV deal. They re-signed 1 year with Bally, and I think the belief is that things were going to change. Things were going to be better. If not this offseason, next offseason. The games wouldn't be blacked out on certain providers. It'd be more accessible to everybody. And I know Corey Provis, the play-by-play, he said something along the lines of, well, I'm taking this job on Bally. I really hope that everybody can watch the games. What we don't know is whether the Twins entered that agreement anticipating that Comcast and Bally would not come to terms, whether they knew that a month into the season they would be off the air on most televisions. We don't know that. I'm sure they knew there was a deadline coming up. Maybe they didn't know that it would come to this. That may have been a little bit over their head. So we'll let them off the hook partially. But it's an unfortunate situation because I think this is the biggest cable provider in the Twin Cities. If you don't have DirecTV or Fubo, you're locked out. You can't buy the app. That's not allowed in this market. So you really have very few options other than radio or like I did today watching MLB Game Day, which is actually they try their best. Like they've got
right.
I don't know if you've seen this. They have little trackers inside each player. Yep. So you're actually watching little dots move in real time around the field. And you can kind of see like the little makeshift baseball floating across the screen, but it's not the same. And I hope it gets resolved quickly. And I can't possibly anticipate when it will. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot of dollars at stake for both sides. And hopefully it reaches a tipping point here where people can find the games on TV again.
Phenomenal breakdown there, by the way. Great bullet points. I thought you laid it out beautifully and just kind of a better understanding for a lot of people listening at home now of just where we're at in the process. And like you kind of alluded to, I'll just echo, unfortunately, a lot of these situations, more times than not, ultimately, at the end of the day, you strip everything down. It just has to do with money. So hopefully both sides can come to agreement sooner than later. So we don't have to watch this play-by-play on ESPN app or MLB app and things like that, because there's just nothing better. There is no substitute than being able to sit down, especially in the summer, watch some summer baseball and watch these Minnesota Twins keep ripping it up. Let's jump back to the diamond here. I just wanted to ask you real quick, because you and I haven't really talked Minnesota Twins baseball that much this year. This bullpen obviously just got Johan Duran back, a huge addition, monster addition, can't be overstated. But all things considered here, Sam, the position they were put in at the beginning of the year with no Duran, no Copa, hopefully he'll be back in the next few days. This bullpen, low-key, was a hidden gem, a huge bright spot for this team up to this point. How much did they exceed expectations for you through these first 4 weeks? And how encouraging is it knowing you've got them waiting in the wings now over this long gauntlet of a season?
Yeah, this was a bullpen that was undermanned coming into the year, and they've been among the 3 best in the league. That's exceeding expectations, wow. No doubt. I don't think you ever anticipated that Brock Stewart would be this good. You knew you had something there. You didn't know he'd be this good. I know he gave up a home run today. We'll talk about that in Nerdy Stat. But you've gotten good stuff out of Steven Okert, who's been kind of a middling reliever in the past. Alcala, who, has dealt with health issues. He gave you something in 6 appearances. Thielbar coming back. There are still reinforcements to return to this bullpen, but credit their Pete Mackey and what they're doing with their pitching coach or their coaching staff, coaching up these pitchers, because they've had a lot of turnover in the bullpen, as most bullpens do, and they seem to squeeze a lot out of these arms. Cole Sands, sub-2 ERA right now. Cody Funderburk has been a pretty reliable lefty. So I'm just really, really happy to see that. And when you pair that with starting pitching that gets you into the 7th, like Ober did today, finishing 6th, that makes the game just flow so much easier for everybody.
They won 7 in a row, by the way, without Carlos Correa and Johan Duran in the mix. They've now won 10 in a row. How huge was it getting both those guys back, though, and just keeping this rally, keeping this winning streak going? Obviously, Byron Buxton now we got to worry about for a little bit, but at the same time, hopefully Royce Lewis isn't, too far away from returning in the not-so-distant future. But Carlos Correa, Johan Duran, clearly pivotal core pieces of this team's roster.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it last night. You saw the Twins actually in a really tight game with a bad team. That could have gone either way. Correa comes up with a 110-mile-an-hour knock to put the Twins ahead last night, and then Duran comes in and closes it out. I mean, it worked exactly as you anticipate it does, with big players stepping up, and the trickle-down effect in the bullpen. Suddenly you have Jax in the 8th and Thielbar in the 7th and Duran in the 9th. Like the 7, 8, 9 kind of baton passing, which they really got solidified last year. It's I don't know if it's Royals-esque, but if you remember how the Royals won the World Series, sure, they had that lockdown that lockdown bullpen in the 7, 8, 9, and the Twins have resembled that, I think, for the better part of the last year.
All right, nerdy stat of the day time here, Sam. We always love a crazy stat or analytic on this show. If you've got one, we're all ears laid on us.
Brock Stewart gave up his first run of the year today. That snaps a 25 appearance, 25 inning scoreless streak going back to May 29th of last year, almost a full calendar year since he gave up a run. That is almost the equivalent of 3 complete game shutouts worth of pitching scoreless baseball. Brock Stewart, it was a good run, man. Pour one out. That was pretty impressive. Thought he might get through the whole year with a 0 ERA. Not going to happen. Now the next goal is to keep it under 1.
Beautiful. All right, don't go anywhere. We got to preview their next series with Boston. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Monopoly Go. Now, I've been told just a few times here or there, I'm the competitive one in the household. I'm the guy who's maybe always trying to kick things up a notch, create a little friendly competition. And that's exactly why Monopoly Go is perfect. And not just for me, but over 150 million other people that have already downloaded it. It's the new latest and greatest twist on the classic Monopoly we all love and remember. And now you can play on not just one board, but hundreds of Monopoly boards, all with different crazy locations, helping you build up amazing new cities that bring you big money. And the best part, without a doubt, messing with your friends, messing with your family, charge them rent on all the iconic properties. And you can even steal their vaults of cash or team up with your friends, earn big rewards. So what are you waiting for? Get in the game, play with all your family, all your friends. Download Monopoly Go for free at the App Store and Google Play. Okay, it must be laundry day coming up, Sam, because the Twins are going from some White Sox to some Red Sox. See what I did there? This might as well just be comedians in cars getting coffee right now. Okay,
we're just having a good time.
We're just ripping it up, baby. All right, fresh series with Boston. That starts up on Friday. You got Chris Paddock on the mound for game 1. What's sticking out to you the most as far as storylines going with Ober on Friday, and then really just the entire matchup, big picture as a whole?
Well, I think there's actually going to be some pretty awesome energy in the crowd on Friday. A lot of times the April attendance is so meager. It's hard to create energy when it's 40 degrees outside. There's not a lot of momentum in the season. Now we've got some good weather. Friday forecast, I was showing it to you earlier, looks gorgeous. 71 and sunny, going to be the best day at Target Field all year. Red Sox will bring fans. Twins fans haven't been able to buy a ticket in like a week and a half because they've been on the road. So it's going to be a great atmosphere. The Twins have won 10 in a row. I think the fans are probably going to appreciate that and let the team know about it. So they get a day off tomorrow, kind of reset, and go into this Red Sox series. And Luke, the Red Sox, I don't know if you've looked at their roster recently. There's just nobody recognizable anymore. Like all of the guys that were sort of staples of that roster that won World Series there, it's just an unrecognizable team. I mean, Trevor Story, that was a big name. He's on the IL. Other than Rafael Devers, it's a younger, kind of anonymous Red Sox roster. It's same record as the Twins, 17 and 13. I don't really know what to expect out of them. It'll be good to get a look at them because these two teams could very well be competing for like a wild card spot at the end of the year. So I'll be very compelled to see how this goes. A lot of their pitching is on the IL as well, not super healthy. So I'm actually really pumped to see how long the Twins can keep this streak going because they haven't been challenged yet by any of the opponents necessarily during this streak. The Angels are horrible. The White Sox are horrible. Let's see if this holds up against an above-average baseball team.
Yeah, beautiful day on Saturday, as you mentioned. And if you can't make it out Saturday, rest assured, hey, they're on a 7-game homestand now. So if you can't make it Saturday, plenty of opportunities to make it throughout the week as well. Sam, if I told you in March, let's just say, that on May 1st, the Twins would have a 10-game win streak and they'd still be in 4th place, you'd say what? What's going on?
What's going on with the AL Central?
What happened that first month of the year? Yeah.
Yeah, April results can be a little finicky.
Mm-hmm.
AL Central, not as meek as we might have assumed.
Yeah, not exactly how we forecasted things. Definitely, at least to start these first 4 weeks. I know you've got some fun facts, some fun stats from the last time they were in this same position, 16 years ago or so, on this unbelievable win streak they put together. What do you got for us today on that?
So Twins haven't had a 10-game winning streak since 2008. Obviously, that was in the Garden Hire heyday. June 17th through 27th, 2008. So I looked at the opponents they beat in that streak. They swept, this was interleague play. They swept the Nationals, a 59-win team that year. They swept the Diamondbacks, 82 wins that year, right at 500. They swept the Padres, 63 wins that year. So they ran into some bad teams. They took advantage of it, and then they beat the Brewers in the 10th game of that winning streak. Joe Mauer with a go-ahead home run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th to give the Twins a 7-6 win. I looked at the scoring margin of that 10-game winning streak. Twins outscored their opponents 63-25, and the number that stands out is the 25. They didn't allow their opponents to score more than 3 runs in any of the first 9 games. So they just pitched their butts off in that 10-game winning streak. Compare that to now, the margin is 76-36. So they've been hitting actually. And again, they hung a 16 spot and an 11 spot against the Angels and a 10 spot today. That's going to help your numbers considerably. 3 different players have saves during this 10-game streak, Jack Steelbar and Duran. And I think back, Luke, we talked about Buxton today. Remember the second game of the streak against Chicago? Buxton ties the game bottom 9 off the foul pole and left to keep
just
the
a
Twins
rope
alive.
shot, just a rope line drive shot that barely snuck over that left field wall.
Yeah, and you wonder if Buxton doesn't hit that bomb, like, does the streak happen? Sometimes you need that inciting event. I mean, but really, Luke, we're attributing this to the sausage, right? It's the magic of the summer
100%.
sausage that has caused this.
100%. We talked about superstitions a little bit on our Bleacher Report stream, talking Minnesota Timberwolves playoff stretch. I think you're absolutely right. What's been most impressive for me here, Sam, and I know we got to wrap up here soon, but during this stretch, it's not like just one guy dominating, right? There's no Shohei Ohtani, right? Or some stud in the lineup that's just carrying you. It's a different guy every single night. It's multiple different guys every single night. It's different pitchers, like you just pointed out. 3 different players with saves right now during this 10-game win streak. It's a multitude of guys. It's the entire collection, and that is the definition of team baseball when you get to this level playing in the MLB. Who's your team MVP, though? If I made you pick one guy during this stretch, who's the MVP of this 10-game winning streak? And also, part 2, what's been the biggest surprise for you as well? Maybe something that you just didn't see coming. And again, as it pertains to this recent success and recent surge that they're on.
Yeah, weird to say a guy who's hitting 189, but Santana has had a lot of timely home runs. He had that stretch of games with a home run. Ryan Jeffers, I would say, with what he's doing behind the plate defensively, but also he's one of the top hitting catchers in baseball. He's continued his hot hitting from last year. Those would be 2 names I would put forth and nominate. And then Trevor Larnach, showing up and hitting immediately. Former first-round pick. I have not given up on Trevor Larnach being a legit MLB threat at the plate, and he's showing that right now.
Well done, my man. I could do this all day with you. We got to get out of here. Let's wrap up. Always a lot of fun to talk some Twinkie ball with you, though. Love it when you can come on and pinch hit with me. Twins win their 10th in a row. First time since 2008. Day off tomorrow. Then it's 7 in a row at home at Target Field in the backyard, starting with 3 versus Boston. Game 1 Friday. Chris Paddock on the mound for that one. First pitch, 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time start. As always, huge shout out to everybody that joined us in the stream. Rest assured, we will be back each and every game, same time, same place, right here to break it all down. And quick reminder, too, go check out Sam on X, at Sam Ekstrom. He's always ripping out some fire tweets. Plus, he's always ripping it up on the Minnesota basketball party each and every Wednesday with the full crew, breaking down the T-Wolves playoff chances. Give us a quick little tease from today's episode that just dropped just a few hours ago.
Minnesota basketball party. We put a bow on the Sun series, talk about Anthony Edwards' mastery, and we preview the Nuggets. And I got to say, Jack Borman just brings he tells you how to watch the series. He frames it up. He gives you all the things you need to be thinking about going into Denver, Minnesota, which starts on Saturday. Can't wait.
That's awesome. Can't wait to go check that episode out. And you can check me out on the T-Wolves POSTCAST episode with our guy, Jack Borman. Game 1 versus Denver Saturday night right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. And if it's not too much trouble, please go like, go subscribe. Help us get to 8,000 subscribers. That's always much appreciated. Not to mention, you can always find all our Locked On Sports Minnesota content wherever you find your podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, and various other outlets as well. All right, that'll do it for us today. We got to get out of here. Sam Ekstrom, Luke Inman. I'll see you Friday night, but until then, signing out.